Good evening, folks. This is Deb Delapiano, and this is your short take. So let's talk a little bit. We're going to talk tonight about Joe Biden and Donald Trump because it is clear that they are going to be the nominees. The person we really want to focus on, though, is Donald Trump. Okay, let me just make that perfectly clear. So I hear people are concerned about Joe Biden being 81 years old and running for the presidency. You know what? Do I wish Joe Biden were younger? I do. Guess what? I'm 70 this year. I wish I was younger. But be that as it may, there is a very vast distinction between the two men in terms of their mental acumen. Okay. Now, Joe Biden shows the normal things you would see from an 81-year-old. I have an 81-year-old sister. Okay. I'm 70 years old. I can tell you I'm not what I was at 50. I'm not what I was at 60. And I'm not what I was at 65. But I know what I'm doing. And so does Joe Biden, because somebody's been running this country. Someone's been pushing legislation. Somebody's been out there standing on strike lines with workers. And somebody's been out there getting the railroad workers their sick time. That's only one person. It's not Barack Obama working behind the scenes on his little bicycle, like the Wizard of Oz. Okay. Joe Biden's been running the country. He's perfectly capable of running the country. And should, by the way, anything happen to anybody during their presidency, like what happened to John Kennedy, or somebody could just die of a heart attack. And it doesn't have to be an 81-year-old. It could be a 60-year-old too. It could be a 55-year-old. It could be a 70-year-old. There are contingency plans in place to take care of that. Okay. So the bullshit about Joe Biden's age is there because the media actually talks about it constantly. What they don't talk about are Donald Trump's fuck ups and his word salad every single night since he has been on the road. Okay. We start with confusing Nancy Pelosi and Nikki Haley, claiming that Nikki Haley was in charge of security during the insurrection. Nikki Haley wasn't even in Washington during the insurrection. She was somewhere in South Kakalaki. Okay. She was not there. Nancy Pelosi was there, but Nancy Pelosi does not have the power to call out the National Guard. Only one person had the power to do that. His name was Donald Trump. And yes, don't tell me by January 6th, Joe Biden was the president. He was the president-elect. He had no power to do any of that. Donald Trump was still technically the president until those votes were certified, which was what he was trying to stop on January 6th. Let's get things clear here. Okay? So he goes out there a couple days later and claims he mixed them up on purpose because he's not a fan of either one of them. He interposed them. He doesn't know what he's talking about there either. He didn't interpose them. He was clearly fucking confused. Seriously confused, not on purpose. When you interpose something, that means you put something in between something. Say there's two students getting ready to have a fist fight in school and a teacher gets between them. That's what interposing is. Okay? Let's get all of this stuff straight. He continuously slurs words. He can't form words. He can't even form sentences. And he's reading off a teleprompter and he still can't handle it. So let's talk about some of the other things, okay? How about the one where he said that the Continental Army took over the airports during the Revolutionary War? Orville and Wilbur Wright took the first airplane flight on December 17th, 1903. The Revolutionary War took place in 1775 and it ended in 1783. There were no airplanes. Just like people who think that the Second Amendment is about AR-15s. There were no AR-15s then either, but that doesn't matter. Donald Trump referred to Argentina as a great guy. And I watch him on this stuff. He is totally stymied and totally lost half of the time he's speaking. And you know something? When he speaks clearly, the shit that he says is terrifying. So we have two problems here. We have a man who's losing his shit from a cognitive standpoint, and we have a man here who is espousing to be a dictator. And yet the news media continually focuses on Joe Biden. Now, I watched Joe Biden the other night being interviewed on a talk show, and he was extremely cogent, knew exactly what he was saying, and was very engaging. But nobody ever reports that because the media is in the bag for Trump. And there's a reason why the media is in the bag for Trump, because everybody is so eager to just watch this guy, either because they really believe in everything he's saying or because they find him entertaining, if not frightening. Donald Trump isn't entertaining. He's vile and he's loathsome. And he is a poor excuse for a human being. And he certainly is not what I would call the world leader. But more importantly, the person suffering cognitive problems is not Joe Biden. It is Donald Trump. It is Donald Trump all day long. And if you go to the YouTube version of this video, which should be up either late tonight or sometime tomorrow, you will be able to see all of these clips for yourself. It's time to wake up, folks. Okay? It's time to come out of your somnambulance. It's time for you to stop sleepwalking into disaster and understand what's going on here. There is only one person who is going downhill fast, and his name is Donald Trump. It is not Joe Biden. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about some nonsense that I actually saw on TikTok. I don't want to, I don't want to give away my hand right now. You will see it sometime tomorrow when I get back from work. But in the meantime, folks, if you haven't seen any of these clips and you don't want to wait for my YouTube video to get up, they're out there. All you got to do is go look for them, because we have some serious problems here. We have a man who is not only already been convicted of rape and defaming, he has already been convicted of swindling the state of New York to the tune of millions of dollars, which he now has to pay back. He has 91 criminal counts against him across 4 new cases that haven't yet been heard. He is running for the presidency, and he is mentally declining rapidly. He's losing his shit. The American people better wake up. There is one choice here. One. It is the choice between maintaining a democracy and trying to get this country on track to where we can, have some kind of a normal government. We have one whole side of the government that is non-functioning. And you know what side that is. I don't need to tell you. Or we can go into authoritarian rule hell with Donald Trump. Because if he does get elected by some magic happenstance, he is not going to do anything to help you or I and the American people. He's not going to do a goddamn thing for the economy. He's not going to do a goddamn thing for anything, because he's going to be on his grand retribution tour, getting back at everybody who, quote, did him wrong. I will talk to you all tomorrow.